welcome to my channel. Today we have two stories for you, but both of them are about being a geisha. So if that's not something you're interested in, then I apologize. But before we start, remember to like this video and subscribe to the channel. So let's jump right into it. Let's start with the first story. You are a geisha living in Japan during the Edo period. Your life is all but ordinary. You wake up early in the morning, tend to your duties around the house, and then go out to socialize with friends. After a long day of shopping and sightseeing, you come home and get ready for bed. As you lie down, you reach for your smartphone, but there isn't one. You live in the 1800s after all. Instead, you pick up a book and start reading. It's an adventure novel. You've always loved these types of books, but never had time to read them. Finally, you can catch up on your favorite series. You read for hours, completely engrossed in the story, until you hear a knock at the door. You quickly hide the book under your pillow and hope whoever is out there doesn't see it. If they did, your career would be over. As a geisha, you're forbidden from reading. You're forbidden from doing pretty much anything that could be considered unladylike. Reading, writing, and math are seen as too masculine for women. And if caught, you'll be banished from the geisha district and sent back to your family without your fortune and without your head. That was a bit dramatic. But the point is, you can't read. You didn't become a geisha because you liked dressing up and putting on makeup. Oh no, you were sold to the trade by your poor family when you were just a baby. They dressed you up in fine garments and paraded you around town to make money. Then when you got older, maybe around 6 or 7 years old, they took you to the red light district and taught you how to entertain customers. And you're a woman, but you still remember what it was like to be little. You miss being able to run around and play without the pressure of having to look beautiful all the time. You yearn for a simpler time. But unfortunately, your customers are here to remind you of your reality. The first one is a businessman who seems nice enough. He orders tea and sits down. The second customer is a ronin, a masterless samurai. These men are dangerous and unpredictable. And finally, the last man to join you is a low-ranking government official. You know that he has a wife and kids, but you don't think that will stop him from throwing his money around. He starts making obscene gestures, but you ignore him. You've seen it all before. The night goes by in a blur of faces. Each man buys you a drink. Each man tries to touch you. You smile politely and try to keep yourself from crying. Finally, they leave, and you slump over in relief. What a day. You take off your makeup and put on a simple kimono. Then you curl up in bed and fall asleep instantly. The next morning, you wake up feeling refreshed. You get up and start your routine. First, you wash yourself with freezing cold water and scrub your entire body. Then you put on another elaborate costume and do your makeup. Today, you have an appointment with a potential customer, so you want to look your best. You finish getting ready and leave the house. As you walk through the streets, you notice how beautiful the cherry blossoms are this year. You remember when you were little and you used to play under those very trees? Back when life was fun, you'd shake your head and try to focus on the road ahead. You don't want to end up in an alleyway like some of the other geishas, you know? You enter the customer's house and bow deeply to show your back. Then you serve tea and talk about everything except for politics or anything controversial. Small talk is all you're allowed to do. If you make a mistake, you could get hit. Luckily, this customer is in a good mood and tips you well. Even invites you to his house again next week. You agree and leave. The rest of the day, you spend training new geishas. This is another part of your job that you dislike. You know you should be mentoring these girls, giving them advice on how to behave and what to say. But you also remember how you were trained, and honestly, you just want to forget. At the end of the day, you're exhausted. You'll go home and remove your kimono. You look at your reflection in the mirror and ask yourself why you're doing this. You're talented and smart, but all you can do is entertain stupid men. You really wish you could read, but you know if you're caught, you'll be killed. So instead, you practice calligraphy. It's the closest thing to reading that you can do without getting into trouble. You write poem after poem until your hand cramps up. Then you go to sleep and dream of a world where women can do whatever they want.
Ow!
Now let's move on to the second story. You are a geisha in modern Japan. You're respected and admired by everyone, but behind closed doors, you cry yourself to sleep every night. You became a geisha because you wanted to follow in your mother's footsteps. She was a famous geisha who entertained the most important people in the country. You grew up hearing stories of her exploits and decided you wanted to be just like her. So at the age of 5, you were sent to a special school for geisha. There you learned how to dance, sing, and play various instruments. By the time you were 12, you were already a professional and ready to make your debut. Now, several years have passed since then, and you re-now one of the most sought-after geisha in the country. Men of all ages and social classes want to hire you. Some of them are married, others are single. Some are looking for love, while others just want to have fun. You've met all kinds of people in your line of work, but recently the customers have been getting crazier. For example, you had this one guy who came in and started talking about how he wanted to marry you. At first you thought it was a joke, but he kept insisting. You had to tell him directly that you weren't interested. Another customer came in drunk and started groping you. You slapped him and he got mad. Then this businessman wanted you to pose for some photos with him. You agreed, but he ended up taking pictures of you without your makeup on. The worst was this guy who kept asking you personal questions and wouldn't stop staring at you. You tried to ignore him, but he kept following you around. You finally snapped and pushed him away, but he fell and hit his head on the table. These incidents made you afraid to work alone. Always ask for a bodyguard now. Even though it costs more, it's worth it. To be honest, you hate your job. Every day, you have to put on a beautiful dress, wear heavy makeup, and act like a doll. You're not allowed to speak your mind or even make eye contact with the customers. If you do, you'll ruin your reputation and no one will ever hire you again. It's gotten so bad that you're considering quitting. But you've invested too much time and money into this career to give it up now, plus you're the main source of income for your family. You have 3 younger siblings and both your parents lost their jobs due to the pandemic. If you quit, they'll be forced to move into a smaller apartment and you don't want that. Every night you go home and cry yourself to sleep. You hate what you do, but you feel like you have no choice. And that's our video. If you liked it, remember to like the video and subscribe to the channel.